Sam Eggington, the guy who knocked out Paulie Mallignaggi, the dude that retired Paulie Mallignaggi. We got Paulie Mallignaggi now fighting, supposedly, fighting Artem Lobov in the summer. They're already in the pre-promotional stages for that fight, and I believe Artem Lobov has a bare-knuckle fight on Saturday against Jason Knight. Lobov and Knight, ex-UFC fighters. These two dudes may be shedding a losing stigma with a couple of bare-knuckle boxing fights, you know? But regardless, Paulie Mallignaggi, right? He's making a big brouhaha, I guess at some pre-fight workout of Artem Lobov, with Anthony Rumble Johnson as his personal bodyguard. Got into each other's face and were talking that shit. And this all goes back to fucking Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, and Paulie Mallignaggi, man, getting all up in arms because of his pride being hurt, man. I guess some sparring secrets were revealed. Conor McGregor wasn't, I don't know, holding himself to the boxing standard, upholding certain codes, you know? What happens in sparring stays in sparring, right? Something like that? Or was that Las Vegas? What happens in the gym stays in the gym. First, the pick with the hands behind Conor McGregor's back, seemingly taunting Paulie Mallignaggi in the sparring they had. Another video was posted, supposed knockdown. People like Joe Rogan and Brandon Sharp were wetting their panties. If Conor McGregor can knock down or give Paulie Mallignaggi trouble with hammer fists in sparring, what can he do against TBE, the greatest ever, all that? And Paulie, since then, you know, he kind of stepped out of bounds of his duties as a commentator, which he then full-time was, you know, because he had been retired by the also great Sam Eggington. Yeah, man, so that was kind of awkward, man. Even his co-commentators, you could hear it in the broadcast of McGregor and Floyd. They weren't too happy with Paulie. I guess it wasn't in the boxing journalist slash commentator code, you know? He wasn't upholding that first rule of boxing commentating. Don't get personally involved with the combatants. But Paulie, man, he was doing his thing, you know, like he said in an interview with Luke Thomas. All these fighters, man, they are narcissists. They are out for the jubilation, I guess, of the crowd. But then again, understanding that it's a selfish, egotistical pursuit. And they're like fiends, man, on the fake applause, man, the fake admiration. They want to be gods on earth. And Paulie's been missing that shit, you know what I mean? And imagine a Paulie Mallignaggi, brash talking Paulie Mallignaggi. When I think of Paulie, man, I don't know how tall he is, but I wonder if he is a short dude, you know? Like generally speaking, just shorter than a normal sized person. What did Nate Diaz say?
His last fight was a decision. I bounce heads off the canvas every time.
Against a normal sized human being.
Conor, you said,
Paulie has a little bit of that Napoleon complex. He's a two-time world champion, man. He talks about his hand injuries, but this guy could never punch, man. And he always had to kind of justify it, you know? Paulie Mallignaggi comes with a complex, you know? It's part of the package, man. You got him like that. And it's gotten worse over the years. And now, like with the bitterness of retirement, maybe not even on his terms, retiring, you know? Sam Eggington. It's gotten worse, man. Like Paulie, when he started commentating, he was still a world champion, like he says, an active fighter.
I started working with Showtime in 2012. I was actually still a world champion in boxing. So, you know, they signed me already as an active fighter. So this isn't anything new. The majority of the years I've been with Showtime, I was actually fighting, you know, so.
He was a different type of commentator at the time. And he was taking the boxing world by storm with his commentating skills, you know. Very motivated. If you hear him nowadays, man, he's very, I'd say, docile, you know. Reserved in his style of commentating. I don't see the enthusiasm, you know, that he had back in the day. Paulie's looking for a fight with Conor, man. Paulie took everything personal. Playing it funny though, I like Paulie. The way he destroyed Adrian Broner.
I got my broadcasting gigs and I'm a fighter. I don't intertwine the two. When you start stepping outside that boundary, you know, then you get me a little irritated. I don't mind promoting the fight. I've been doing this my whole career. You know what I mean? There's nothing marketable about Adrian Broner. There's nothing marketable about him. He's not creative. He's not intelligent. He don't give you a code. He comes up here and says, what is he gonna say next? That's because it's so corny. It's on the floor like a floor tile. What the fuck does that even mean? What are you saying? It's on the floor like a rug. If I drop that comb, I just comb my hair with, it'll be on the floor like a comb too. What the fuck does that mean? What did this guy say half the time? I don't even remember what he's saying. And then he mixes in the Floyd stutter. He tries to imitate Floyd with whatever he's saying. Hopefully, after I beat his ass, I can pick some personality into him. And then, we'll meet the real Adrian Broner. That's all I got to say.
But you gotta also understand, man, he had a guy, Adrian Broner, that's basically, like, we laugh at Adrian Broner and, like, people say he's a trash talker, he's a brash personality and all that stuff. Like, nobody's really laughing with him, you know what I mean? He's that slow guy, you know, that slow guy you let hang out, you know, because, you have a good heart, you know? Oh, Adrian, that type of thing.
Let me tell you something. Talking about, shut up. Nobody hears you anyway. Shut up. Gosh, shut up. Shut up. Shut up and take the pain. Wipe your teeth. You got some shit in there. Hey, keep it professional. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I know. No, between the diamonds. Floss them. Yeah, I got some too. Yeah, I know. You're talking to somebody that made money. You're not talking to the chumps that you've been fighting who got to work at the grocery store to make money. I know. Now you're fighting somebody that made money in their career. I know what diamonds are. Did anybody else notice he was here like a half hour before the press conference started and he pretended he was late? Did anybody else notice that? Because I had people calling me like, yo, Broner's here. And you know how I know they weren't lying to me? Because they told me what he was wearing. So then he shows up an hour into the press conference like he showed up late. He's trying to show up fashionably late. Stop trying so hard, bro. Just do what you gotta do. Stop trying so hard, because people see right through you. You're a clown. And stop with the Floyd stutter. Damn. Again, he was stuttering like Floyd. Again, just talk like yourself. It's okay. It's all right. It's gonna be all right. If you show people who Adrian Broner is, they might like you. They might. It's got nothing to do with stuttering like Floyd. I'll talk about what I want, dude. You know why? Because I'm $1 million fighter. So I come up here, I say what I want, and I talk how I want. All right? That's why you're out there listening to me, and I'm going to say what I want to say. So Mr. Schaefer talked about detours, talking about how some fighters got to take detours, and some fighters don't end up on detours. Well, it all depends on the matchmaking. It all depends on who's got your back. Mr. Al Heyman is taking good care of Adrian Broner, and that's why he's where he is right now. There's a lot more talented fighters in boxing than Adrian Broner that don't get the credit they deserve. It's not saying that he's not talented. I'm just saying Al Heyman is responsible for this creation right here. Okay, there's detours. Okay, there's detours that he hasn't had to take. Okay, I was a talented prospect at one time too. You know what I was rewarded with my first title fight? Miguel Cotto. You know what his reward was for his first title fight? Some guy, Rodriguez, why can't he remember his first name? He's got to thank Al Heyman. Instead of praying to God every night, pray to Al Heyman every night for making him the creation he is. This guy is nothing. This guy is nothing. And on Saturday night, I'm going to prove to you how nothing he is. Nothing but talent. We get to the late rounds. You remember in that locker room at Wildcard Gym a couple years ago when you were getting ready to fight Ponce? And we was in the locker room, and you was all nervous about going the distance, and you think I forgot that conversation you had with me? You think I forgot that conversation you had with me? Hey, Paulie, how you go with all them rounds, man? Because I never been 10 rounds. You know, and you know, the fight is this Saturday. How you go 10 rounds? And I had to explain to him how it is you go 10 rounds without mentally killing yourself. And then shut up, I'm talking, shut up! Shut up! You were doing a public workout at Wildcard. Shut up! So we're back. So he gets to the fight and he throws about 16 punches for 10 rounds. And thanks to Al Heyman, he gets the decision. My man, you go 12 Saturday. I'm gonna beat your ass. My man, you go 12 Saturday. I'm gonna beat your ass.
But the whole thing with Conor McGregor, it's just a bad look, you know. Like, even boxing people, when they were looking at the footage of him getting dropped, the sparring session, yo, you could see, like, them being a little disappointed, you know. They thought this shit was, like, completely fake. Like, why is this dude, like, landing hammer fists on you? You know what I mean? Yeah, that was kind of below the standards they would expect from a former world champion. And Paulie always had been kind of belittled because of his lack of punching power, you know, even from active boxers, man. In the end, obviously, they will give the proper respect for a fellow prize fighter, but there's a little bit of, look at Paulie, man, with his glass hand. What he was able to accomplish, like when Floyd Mayweather is giving compliments to Paulie Mallignaggi. Is it completely sincere? I don't know. Anyway, fucking Paulie, right? Alright, he didn't get a fight with fucking Conor McGregor. Understand, Conor McGregor fans wouldn't like probably the things that Paulie has to say about their hero, but he's very entertaining, and that's what I think about Paulie in the end, you know. While being like at his best, in his prime, a pretty decent boxer, he's a character. If he loses a close decision, you want to hear him give his post-fight interview, man, and fucking curse out the judges and do his thing, you know. It was a lot more tolerable when it was active fighting, you know. It's like beating a dead horse. I'm losing steam here. What was I talking about? That he fucking went to the gym and where Artem Lobov, who's a friend of Conor McGregor. Oh, this is so intricate and so gay. It's not really appropriate, but this shit is pretty gay. It's suspect, but at the end of the day, fucking Paulie Mallignaggi, he slapped Artem Lobov.
Oh guys. You bitch!
Best friend. Like, you have a name for being the best friend of Conor McGregor, man. That's so silly. He's a friend of a celebrity. You know what I mean? And he's trying to stick up for Conor, right? He's trying to fight his battles, and Paulie's thinking, this shit is the next best thing, you know? I can't get Conor. And then it's not like Conor would beat Paulie, but Paulie is pretty much a shot fighter. You know, Sam Eggington, man, I'm telling you. Sam. Sinister Sam Eggington, man, he should come in there. Sam the Count Eggington, he should get involved in BKB, man. Eggington himself is coming off a knockout loss or TKO stoppage against Liam Smith, who's a world-class fighter, I'd say, you know. Sam Eggington, man. But he has hit a rough patch, and that's interesting to say. Like, if you look at Sam Eggington, you could say he's near retirement. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you don't have defense, if you don't have the attributes that actually Paulie displayed, man, that actually allowed him to become a world champion, although having almost next to nothing in punching power, Sam Eggington doesn't have that. He does have heart though, but he doesn't have defense. He doesn't look after himself in the ring. That's why he's at the stage that he is now. Actually, when I first saw him, I didn't think this was a bad fighter, man. Looked like, for a guy, I believe, that also got started late and started like when he was 20 or some shit. I don't know. But he's still a young dude, you know what I mean? He's like in his mid-20s and he's taking shots, man. He's taking a lot of shots, you know? But I think Sam Eggington was slowly but surely becoming a punching bag in boxing. He's the boogeyman. He's the guy that put Paulie Mallignaggi not to sleep, man. He dropped him with a body shot, stopped him. Mallignaggi actually was able to hurt Sam Eggington in that fight. That was incredible. But Paulie, he got stopped with a body shot. The will was gone, but he also had been looking shot since the Sean Porter destruction, you know. Still getting decent fights, you know. Actually didn't look too bad against Gabriel Bracero. I remember that. He looked pretty decent actually outboxing Bracero. Yeah, but against Eggington and against Danny Garcia, against, yeah, Porter, like a bunch of fights, man. Paulie had been looking kind of shot, you know. The last like really good performance, I'd say, is the Zab Judah performance. The Broner effort was a very good effort, you know. Paulie's about to fight this guy Artem Lobov. They call him the GOAT, the real TBE. You know what I mean? The untouchable, the impregnable. Artem Lobie. Lobson. He's fighting him in June, I guess. Regardless of if Jason Knight is able to beat the guy. But Jason Knight, I believe, is like, I believe they call him actually Hick Diaz, because he's kind of a don't give a fuck type of dude, you know. Kind of a country boy, you know, but I guess with good jiu-jitsu and warrior's mindset, that type of dude. Comparisons have been made, I guess, to Nick Diaz. That's why they call him Hick Diaz. So he's fighting him in BKB, man. Yeah, Lobov can crack a little bit. Maybe he can put this guy away. And then he's ready for fucking Paulie, and Paulie slapped him, man. Rumble Johnson was holding him back after that, and Paulie was talking about body bags, killing the guy, all that stuff.
You think I'm playing with you? You disrespect boxing, you piece of shit? After all the fighters that have been hurt? You talk about fucking pads on our hands? I'm gonna put you through what all their families got put through. You piece of shit. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
I got that shit pretty good. I know you did too, right?
That was interesting. Lobov, man, he's also funny, like funny that I'm saying that, but Like Lobov, he's a pretty good talker, man, but he's pretty monotone at the same time, you know. And Paulie's completely going crazy, man. He wanted to put the guy in a body bag, he was saying, man. Killing him, making him pay for all the boxers that gone through hurt or end up hurt, on the families suffering. He's gonna absorb it and put it on Artem Lobov, you know what I mean? Oh, Paulie, he don't give a fuck, man. Something happened with Paulie. Maybe it's like post, I don't know what it is, PTSD, something about Paulie. Chip on his shoulder, Paulie. Why is he talking about pulling chicks? Pulling birds, huh? Why is he talking so much about that shit, man? You ever see Paulie dancing in that nightclub? He was having fun there. He didn't mind that there were cameras, man. He was... That's Paulie. You know what I mean? That's Paulie, man, in his essence. He just wants to dance, man. He's a free bird. McGregor. He's a fan himself. Regardless of the fame he had acquired in a relatively short time. Listening to Notorious B.I.G. Oh, rap, you rap? I can rap a little bit. What did he say? Yeah, I'm black from the waist down and shit, you know? He's a fanboy of the culture. I don't blame him, you know? He's a wigger, basically. Fucking Paulie's a wigger. If you look closely, he's a wigger. And he has been calling Conor McGregor gay and shit, right? That he's a gay guy and should come out and everything. But that's been also what like Conor McGregor fans have been calling him, right? A stalker ex, you know? Just fucking bitter as a motherfucker. But I don't mind this whole bullshit, man. I watch. Paulie been trying to fight this Artem Lobov, man. He slapped him. Give him a little Brooklyn Bensonhurst slap. He's quick off the cuff, Paulie, and quick to get rough, you know what I mean? Choo choo, motherfuckers. The Russian hammer, man. I believe, what's his name, also bitch slapped him. Khabib, right? He tends to get slapped, man. Yeah, man, nothing shameful about that, you know. Happens. Like, listen, man, MMA fighters, why not take him down real quick for statement's sake, you know what I mean? You know, just like for fucking around, because you can't get Paulie too much the upper hand, man. If I'm Artem Lobov, man, get a little press for my fight on Saturday, instead of me being the victim and getting slapped. Because I've seen actually Artem Lobov after the incident, like rather calmly doing interviews and shaking hands. It didn't seem he needed much calming down. Paulie, man, he gets off on the whole shit, like he has two MMA fighters holding him back and he's like slightly tussling in their grasp, you know what I mean, trying to get to Artem, like holding school children to the side so he gets a clear view while he's admonishing. Good old Lobovsky, man, you know what I mean, from afar. And you just hear from one side of the room, you don't understand, I will destroy you. Monotone Lobomsky. And Paulie, man, he's going into, I don't know, man. He's huffing and puffing, trying to blow Artem's house down, you know what I mean? The funniest part also, fucking Anthony Rumble Johnson, man. He just like put Paulie kind of in a little friendly headlock and kind of walked him, you know, after that incident. Paulie has like one foot that kind of drags. You can actually see it in his boxing, man. Also, he has a tendency to kind of bend below his waist, man. And especially that shit got him fucked up in the Danny Garcia fight. Like, Paulie's been shot. I'm telling you, man. Years of trying to do a fucking John Travolta grease strut. Years of perfecting that shit, man. Had gotten his footwork all fucked up. Big Daddy Johnson, you know what I mean? Just walking that boy. Paulie looked upset, man. All foot draggy. Foot draggy. Yeah, man, but a lot of hoopla, man. I'm telling you, man, Sam Eggington, he needs to go to BKB, like, destroy these foods, man. Like, get into talks, like, with the whoever is, like, fucking on top of the food chain of the BKB circuit, you know what I mean? I want to see Sam Eggington do what he does. It's whoop on Paulie Mallignaggi, you know what I mean? And that was actually an exciting fight they had in boxing, man. I want to see that in BKB, you know? I bet Paulie's not willing to do that shit though. He wants the fucking Conor McGregor trickle down shine, I guess. Conor McGregor, is he actually that good, you know? Fuck boxing, is he that good of a mixed martial artist? Because Jose, good old Josie, man. Like, yeah, shooter box. He's a pretty good shooter box guy. But is Conor McGregor like, is he just, I guess, is he a Ronda Rousey? That's what I'm trying to say. Is he kind of behind with his shit? You know what I mean? Is a low gas tank in a 1-2, is that enough, man? You know, it's like all pull counter type of shit. You know, trying to pull counter fucking Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? He really thinks he's slick, and he really thinks fucking he's black from the waist down and all that type of shit. You know, I'm gonna outbox Floyd Mayweather. Like, a great white hope. But good for him, man. Good for him, man. Yeah, man. I want to see fucking Paulie Mallignaggi do the trash talking, even if he's like a shot shell of his former self, of his ghost's past, of the ghost of Christmas past. G. Actually, I want to see like Conor McGregor insulted. He's a catalyst. I liked him when he was laughing at fucking Nate Diaz, when this woman, this finance woman, show host, whatever, was asking them questions, asking them to count, and he said like Nate can only count to 5 and shit. That's just funny and juvenile. So I thought that was funny, you know, and he was having fun with it. So I can kind of, you know, appreciate that. He's having fun while like roasting his opponent, or not really roasting, but he's just having fun with it, you know what I mean? I think probably like Nate Diaz could appreciate it if it wasn't like in a fighting environment, you know what I mean? He knows this guy is gonna try to beat him up, you know what I mean? At a certain point, at a specific point in time, in the future, you know? That's kind of nerve-wracking. Yeah, man. I can see him kind of stumbling when like Nate Diaz just says, I keep it thuggish on mine. How about that? Yeah, nigga, I keep it thuggish on mine. If he gets all hood with him, because Conor kind of, like I said, you can see him being a fan, you know? He starts talking about Nick because he's a fan of Nick. Who isn't? Am I right? Nick is such an enigma, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, enigma, yeah. Still sounds kinda wrong. Only certain people are allowed to say it. Even those people, man, you gotta be careful, you know what I mean? Are they ghetto enough to say it? Or do they have a college education, you know? Anyway, like I said, man, I would like to see that Paulie Conor McGregor fight. But I'm kind of different. I would like to see them in a sumo match. Just like to switch it up a little bit. Because I want to see who's the better sumo guy. I think it's an age-old question who would win in a sumo match, man. Conor McGregor or Paulie Mallignaggi, especially after the sparring, the shove down, the push trip, you know what I mean? The push trip, Hadouken punch, you know what I mean? That whole stuff. I thought to myself, man, who's better? Well, maybe a judo match, something like that, man. Turkish bath salts wrestling match or something like that. I don't know. Something I've read on Joe Rogan. Watched on Joe Rogan. I thought that was something you read. Thought that was a book. I want to see that, man, but it's not gonna happen, man. Conor McGregor. I'm predicting him and Nate Diaz. They're gonna get a timeshare. I can see that, man. All right. I think I'm done here, you know? Yeah, I think that slap was definitely uncalled for. It doesn't make MMA really look good, you know what I mean? If you have boxers winning street squabbles now. Yeah, people were pushing and shoving each other, and both parties were restrained, but I don't know, you know? It is the MMA's GOAT against good old Magic Man sticking up for boxing. Who do you want more than, I don't know, fucking Paulie? Is he a good choice for that, man? Should put up a poll for that shit, man. Boxing fans, would you like to represent boxing in a fucking, against an MMA fight in a boxing match, I guess. This is disgusting. I'd like to see how about a fucking boxer goes over to mixed martial arts, man, and competes? How about that? Holly Holm did it, you know. Got a female with bigger balls than most of these boxers, man. I guess they don't make money. If they did it, you know. In women's boxing, there's no money, so yeah, the chick can make more money, I guess, in MMA, especially UFC. But fucking, how about Mike Alvarado? You know, he has a wrestling background, I believe. Terence Crawford has a wrestling background. You would think like dudes like Tim Bradley and Sean Porter, they'd have one. But these type of dudes, they are like dudes that I think that look like strikers more than boxers. Amir Khan with his speed, man, he could overwhelm just putting his speed on like Cowboy Cerrone and making him like shell up, like Johnny Hendricks shelled up against Stephen Thompson. Hey, that swing by Paulie, that looked miserable. Why is he throwing like that? Don't throw, man. If you know you're not gonna hit anything and then you're gonna ask for your fucking where's my sunglasses? Where's my sunglasses? Where's my sunglasses? Alright, man. You fucking fickle bitch. Pretty bitch, you. Where's my sunglasses? I got 3 estates in 4 different continents. Swinging at the air. Really, like, the way Paulie threw and the slap and like Paulie doesn't scare me. And I'm civilian as a motherfucker, man. And the way like Paulie talks and shit. Haven't you seen like street knockouts and shit? Like on YouTube, I mean top 10 lists of some bums fighting and one guy just like destroying another motherfucker, just like flattening him, you know what I mean? But that shit, like Paulie doesn't put fear into me. I'm not trying to fight him, but still, man, the motherfucker, like he has that chip on his shoulder because of the lack of his power and shit, but I think he shouldn't be throwing it. Like, did you see Rocky Lockridge? Rest in peace. If you ever seen him, man, yeah, I know. People like to make fun of him because the that shit, that fucking meme thing, you know? When the guy is basically suffering from dementia, is it what, in a nursing home? Getting reunited with his family and shit, and he starts crying, man. And if you have brain damage, even you're crying. Like Joe Rogan likes to talk about Terry Norris and Medrick Taylor having bad speech, I guess, being a little impaired in that regard because of brain damage, man. And Lockridge wasn't no different. So it's no wonder if your speech is gonna be affected. Probably regardless what comes out of your mouth is gonna be affected. And his cry sounded the way it sounded. But ever seen Rocky Lockridge like just standing, minding his own business when some drunk bum or a younger man actually than him, approaches him in an aggressive manner and he just lays the guy out, man.
Well, I'm gonna take this bit, I'm gonna fuck you up. How about that? Fuck you, nigga. Don't go down there, man. What's up, man? Champ, don't do it, Champ. Champ! Champ, gonna knock him out. Don't do it. I told you. Knock him out. Cold. I told you, man. Cold. Knock his ass out.
That shit doesn't really go away, you know what I mean? Lockridge was a banger in his day. Former world champion. And he was an old man with dementia and everything, you know. When he laid that dude out, that was a viral clip itself, you know. So that shit doesn't go away. I guess Paulie, at his best, man, he's not that dude, you know what I mean? So don't be swinging fucking your porcelain around, alright? You know, miss? That's all I'm saying, man. That should look kind of weird, alright? But that's it, man. Peace out.
What's the difference to me? You see my style. What's the difference to me?
Here's the thing. It's not about your style. It's about, I've seen MMA fighters.
I don't turtle up. I've never been a turtle up kind of guy. So I'm.
No, you're a come forward guy.
No, I'm not even a come forward guy, but I'm a guy who makes you miss.
Yes.
I don't catch a lot of shots from the glove. You actually miss with me.
Heavy good footwork, heavy on the motion. What I'm saying is, MMA fighters sometimes they just bite down the mouthpiece and they go, and all they need to do is strafe a little bit, and they cause problems.
Paulie. Hey. Yeah, I said it, man. Paulie is shot. So the GOAT beats Paulie Mallignaggi in a decision. By 1 point on all scorecards, I believe. Yeah, man, that was sad. That's sad, man. Paulie got cut up. I believe Artem also had a cut. And I don't know, like after a feel-out round, this fight sucked, man. Fuck it, man. In the first round, neither did anything, man. It seemed like Taro was talking about Paulie is outboxing Artem barely, I say. Like Paulie, man, he's so one-handed, it's ridiculous. And in this case, he is a one-armed bandit. He stole money, man. Paulie is Shotsky. He's not even qualified to be fighting in this type of thing, you know what I mean? He's done. He's retired as a motherfucker. And he has been. Like, even before he retired, officially, like, he had been retired, man. He likes, like, talking to Kugan Cassius, kind of flirting with comebacks and shit. If you're a Paulie Mallignaggi fan, you know Paulie has been retired for years, man. Even that Broner fight seemed like the swan song at that time. That's forever ago. 6 years? I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't want to do like this big breakdown of this bum-ass fight, you know. Artem Lobov, man, he's, I don't know. He looks for haymakers. His aggression gets him, I guess, the nod against especially a guy that only has legs at this point, and even those betrayed him, man. In round 4 and 5, he wasn't throwing anything anymore. Even his jab was gone. Like, you can only talk about his jab and these little check left hooks that he was landing on Artem. I mean, they're barely check left hooks. They're really like Stockton slaps more so than check left hooks. Nothing of note on that shit, man. Paulie, he likes to swing around his porcelain and call himself a tough guy and all that stuff, man. And I gotta give him credit, you know. We gotta give him credit for all the scar tissue he has, you know, and that at one time he was a pretty decent fighter, man. But it's always with that asterisk, you know, for a guy with one hand, for a guy with porcelain. Like, his best win is against this guy, Senchenko. And who is Senchenko's best win? Ricky Hatton coming over a drug binge after retirement. I mean, love more Endu. I don't know. You know, Paulie is as C-class as it gets when it comes to world level. When they want to talk about world level, is a C-class fight at world level still world level? I don't know. You think he, I don't know, man. I was never really comfortable with Paulie Mallignaggi, like trying to represent boxing in this boxing versus MMA spiel, you know. Not that I have really any stake in that, you know, but seems like he's not really the best representation of a world level boxer going against the GOAT of MMA. You know what I mean? Put Regis Prograis in there. You know? Like, even Antonio Tava, I think, would do better, man. Like, Paulie is so... he's just stripped of everything that he once had, which wasn't much to begin with. Like, he was a pretty fiery guy, and actually for becoming more of a boxer, you know, like early, if you watch him fight, he's more of a speed guy. Flashy, speedy, actually pretty aggressive, you know. I can see that with one of his idols actually being Arturo Gatti. You could tell that he had that type of heart. You know, he was taking beatings, man, in his career against decent fighters, man. Very good fighters. Cotto, Hatton, these type of dudes. He hung in there. Yeah. And really the most impressive thing in his career is that fight against Miguel Cotto, who was a monster at that time at 140. And Paulie Mallignaggi, man, he actually was able to take rounds off Cotto, you know, in that fight. After getting one side of his face smashed in, you know. Heart, he was never lacking, man, but I don't think he was ever really a puncher. That's even ridiculous to like say something like that. He was always like less than average in punching power. He had really fast hands, man. He can cut you up, that type of thing. If he hits you with something you don't see, he might be able to stumble you, as he showed against Juan Diaz. At one time, you know, he did have like a rather stiff jab. I think even that stiffness evaporated. It's not there anymore. Like a flicking jab, that's what he has left. A little bit of that feinting stuff, you know what I mean? He's experienced enough to protect himself in there. It's just like, it's a dude, man, kind of trying to hang on, you know? Like he said, man, he missed having his own show, being in the center of attention, man. He's actually pretty honest with that, so I'm not too mad at him, really. For all the talk of body bags and all that tough guy thing, you know? Like I said, man, watch Rocky Lockridge knock a motherfucking bum out in the street, like, with Alzheimer's and everything. I'm kidding. Like, I'm not kidding, but he didn't have Alzheimer's, not as far as I know, but some type of dementia, you know what I mean? Brain damage and everything, old man. And he put a guy out in the street. I don't think Paulie can do that, you know? I don't think he can put a guy out. Simple as that, man. Even on the street, like, just an average Joe, man. They always talk about, like, Paulie, he'd fuck you up, and he might even fuck you up. Who knows? Because probably the pain threshold is a little different for him, you know what I mean? Then again, I don't see him, like, putting the lights out on me. On me or any other, like, average Joe, you know? I don't see it, man. Like a fully grown man. Like, Paulie's a short dude anyway. We're watching midgets fight, really. You know what I mean? Yeah, granted, they're skillful and everything. They put their time in. But at the end of the day, really, to the average Joe, they're midgets. A guy with porcelain strapped to his knuckles, man, that's not gonna scare me too much. Or anybody, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm a tough guy. It's just like, we talked about body bags. Like Artem Lobov, he almost got murdered by this guy Jason Knight, man. Was he in a fight, this guy Artem? He got hit with one good right hand, and I guess Paulie says he broke that hand immediately. I mean, come on, man. How fragile, you know what I mean? What does he say after the fight? Am I still pretty? Am I still pretty? Like, some dudes, man, it's more about everything else, not so much what they do in the ring. And I had a video and I talked about it, man. Paulie at his best was an attraction, like out of the ring more so. Like, he's a trash talker pre and post fight. After the fight he will complain and you give him credit for actually being able to compete. And after the fight he might even have an argument or whatever, you know what I mean? And therefore he gets extra credit because he comes in hampered as a motherfucker, you know? Like the guy with the biggest mouth, but the fists are missing somehow, you know what I mean? But he's an intelligent fighter, I guess, you know? He's keeping himself somewhat safe in the... Yeah, man, and he's a trash talker, and that's what I was saying, man. The way he destroyed Adrian Brown and all that stuff, it's about that more so than what he does in the ring. So he's like a Chael Sonnen or something, you know? As far as like the check left hooks, because he was saying he was outboxing Artem. Thought he wasn't getting touched in there, Paulie. And even if that's the truth, man, at some point his legs were kind of betraying him. Older dude, you know? 2-minute rounds, even in the 4th round, 3rd, 4th, 5th. He was losing his balance a lot, you know. And the guy Artem, man, maybe not landing anything like too effective. He was starting to touch Paulie, man. And Paulie was talking about he made Artem walk onto jabs and check left hooks. But after that check left hook, when he goes into that pivot, Paulie, and tries to circle out, he was starting to get touched there. And even if he wasn't getting hurt, his legs were betraying him, which I assume would make it look even worse, you know, when it comes to judging. Like I said, man, Paulie wasn't throwing anything round 4 and 5, so he can't complain, man. And Artem beat the former boxing world champion, man. But, you know, it was always weird to think of Paulie like in a bare knuckle fight. But it shows you, man. It shows you, to me. You know, I'm not taking anything from this, like, as far as, like, MMA versus boxing, but when I think about bare-knuckle boxing, like, back to fucking John L. Sullivan, even after that, like, going from bare-knuckle boxing into Marcus of Queensberry rules, it must have been so much harder. Look at these dudes going rounds and rounds, going 50 rounds and shit like that, you know what I mean? And clinching and clinch work and all that stuff, you know? Like Tava, he likes to talk about the plum, right? Yeah, man, they were plumbing each other back in the day, you know what I mean? It's just a harder time. There's a good argument for all these extra technical fighters nowadays, man. The modern day fighter, man, they wouldn't fare well back then. That type of rule set, man. Obviously, you can kind of make the same argument the other way around, right? But I feel like the rough tactics in specific circumstances, you know, could be really effective, man. We see fighters that use these type of tactics nowadays and do them really well, you know, like Orlando Salido, I think, would do very well in this type of style, you know. A Brandon Rios, you know, Diego Corrales, maybe. Dudes that do well on the inside, you know. Takes a specific style to be able to weather the rough parts in a bare-knuckle boxing ring, although we didn't really have to see it too much in this fight here. You know, Paulie was able to, most of the time, be on the back foot and keep it at a certain range where it kept it just neutral, you know what I mean? Both fighters weren't necessarily able to do too much. Paulie himself very reliant on Artem's aggression, you know what I mean, trying to catch him kind of coming in, and at times he was just misjudging and having to reset Paulie. And at that point, that almost goes to Artem, you know, for effective aggression, I guess, even if it wasn't really effective, you know what I mean? Out of that type of exchange, you only can take, like, one guy's trying to fight, one guy's kind of trying to evade, stifle, you know, be negative. That bit him in the ass, Paulie. But a guy that actually is able to make a fight, I mean, a guy with actually world-level boxing skill that is able to not only control the range at distance, but up close, you know? That's not a fish out of water on the inside, basically, because Paulie at best, man, was a guy that would smother on the inside. He wouldn't be offensive, you know. You know what's sad though? If you think about it, the way Paulie fought Adrian Broner and the way he was able to kind of freeze AB, you know, just by letting his hands go, tapping AB to a high guard, you know, because to the head, AB is not really susceptible to be getting hit too effectively, you know what I mean? He protects himself up top, but you can't hit him to the body. And Paulie was doing a beautiful job, actually, moving and hitting the body at the same time, throwing combination, which I believe gave him the rounds that he won in that fight, you know? And I think he was trying to do that in this fight, but obviously not with the same effect and obviously not with the same consistency, you know? He was trying it earlier, I believe. First round, maybe I saw him go a little bit to the body, maybe second round, but after he set up that right hand, it's so sad, man, to say that he's not able to throw that right hand, basically, because he hit him with a good right hand, Artem, but it wasn't too effective, you know what I mean? It was a clean shot, but that was it for the right hand, man. He wasn't throwing that thing anymore. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see Paulie fight anymore. I don't know even if this is a bitter pill to swallow. I think there goes a bit of delusion with that type of resiliency of wanting to be in fighting still after all the setbacks and thinking that he really never had anything to work with or too much to work with. Might call it delusion, but it's, I don't know, you know. He sees himself as a fighter, so and that's why he has a chip on his shoulder, you know what I mean? He has bled for all this, so I guess you gotta somewhat credit the guy, you know what I mean? For all his weird tendencies and strange personality at times, you know? He is that, man. He's a boxing personality. He's earned that. And hopefully we won't see him fight anymore because he definitely hasn't anything left. It's now in the negative, man, you know? It's not looking good and he should stop while he's behind. Yeah, man, and Artem will go on to bigger and better things. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.